Hello, I'm Debbie Riby. I'm a professor in the Department of Psychology. I'm a developmental psychologist and I'm a director of the Centre for Developmental Disorders here in Durham. You might want to have a look at our website. You can find it on the university's central page. As a developmental psychologist, I'm particularly interested in children with a range of neurodevelopmental conditions. These children might have additional developmental needs, such as those who, for example, have an autism spectrum condition. I'm also particularly interested in the development of children, young people and adults who have a genetic disorder called Williams syndrome. Williams syndrome is caused by missing genetic material, so specifically on chromosome 7. It creates a very distinctive cognitive and behavioural profile, and I'm really interested in a variety of different aspects of that profile and how it impacts on the daily lives of people who have Williams syndrome, and also on their siblings and their parents, the whole family unit. So much of the work that we do in Durham focuses around aspects of cognition and behaviour, especially around social behaviour for individuals who have a range of different neurodevelopmental conditions, and how that development might be the same or different compared to individuals who are developing without additional needs. So, for example, we often do work with children in schools and work with parents and teachers to try and understand a variety of skills and areas of specific need for children with and without a range of neurodevelopmental conditions. So the work that we do is especially relevant to clinical psychologists, but it's also really relevant to education in the classroom. To give you an example, a few of the projects that we've run recently have focused on cognition and behaviour in a classroom environment and how that might impact upon learning for children, for pupils, especially at primary school, with a range of additional developmental needs. So, for example, we've been studying how the sensory processing atypicalities and difficulties that children with autism can often experience might impact upon learning in the classroom. So, for example, autistic pupils might find the classroom particularly overwhelming in terms of both visual information and auditory information, and the combination of visual and auditory cues. We've been looking at the impact of sensory aspects of the classroom on learning for pupils in primary schools, both with and without a diagnosis of autism. In other work on autism, we've been looking up the developmental spectrum. For example, looking at the university experiences of students who come to university who might have a diagnosis of autism. So autistic university students might have particular challenges both academically and socially, and we want to understand those experiences in order to provide the most inclusive and available educational experience. We also have been looking at the experiences of autistic females. So what are the differences between autism as it presents in males and as it presents in females? We're looking at that in one of our current projects that's especially around understanding and recognising the experiences of autistic females in order to encourage early diagnosis, because we know females with autism tend to be diagnosed later than males. Our work on Williams syndrome and across a range of neurodevelopmental conditions really focuses around the social world and social interactions. We've conducted a number of studies that have focused on how we interpret social cues from other people and how we might use those social cues to guide our social interactions. For example, the way that we might approach other people, whether they're familiar or unfamiliar to us, and how we might process information from the cues that we get from others. For example, their expressions of emotion or shifts of eye gaze. We're also interested in vulnerabilities in social interactions, especially for individuals who might have intellectual disabilities. And we know Williams syndrome is particularly associated with learning difficulties, and therefore we've been looking at how the social vulnerabilities might be particularly evident for individuals who have a diagnosis of Williams syndrome. So understanding those social experiences, those social vulnerabilities, lead us to look at issues such as friendships, such as our approach behaviours when we interact with other people, and how we might process visual cues from the people around us within our environment. Really importantly, we use a really wide range of methodologies in the studies that we conduct. We have a number of PhD students who are conducting experimental work. We also have a number of PhD students and master's students and some undergraduate dissertation students, for example, who might conduct questionnaire studies with parents, with teachers, or perhaps interviews with individuals who have additional developmental needs. So we use a really wide variety of mixed methodologies in order to conduct our research. If you want to find out more about the research that we conduct here in Durham, you can look at the website for the Centre for Developmental Disorders or at my homepage on the university website, and you'll see a range of studies that we are actively conducting at the moment. Thank you. Bye.